Okay, let's kick things off with our word for today. Ostensible. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, ostensible.
It means something that looks true or seems to be the case, but, well, maybe isn't actually true underneath.
Right, like appearing one way on the surface.
Exactly. And it makes you think about those times, maybe you've felt this, where you kind of have to act like you belong, like you fit in, even if, inside you're feeling totally different.
hmm That exact feeling, that sort of ostensible acceptance, is what we're diving into today, where you act the part but don't really feel it.
Okay.
And we've got some really insightful personal thoughts here, reflections from someone's college days that
Yeah.
really get to the heart of this.
So the mission today is to unpack that feeling, what's behind it, what it means for, well, for you listening.
Precisely.
Let's get into it.
So this one reflection, it talks about college and feeling this real disconnect. The person used the phrase difference in mental wavelength with their peers.
Oh, wavelength difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. And it was mainly because this person didn't really drink beer. But that seemed to be the main, social activity, the glue holding things together.
Ah, the classic college social scene dilemma.
Right. And they actually said it was all I had, socially speaking.
Yeah.
So they just went along with it, hung out anyway.
Wow, it was all I had. That's powerful. It really shows that need for connection, doesn't it?
It does. But it makes you question the connection itself. Like, were they really connecting? Or was it just ostensible, just going through the motions?
Well, that's the interesting part, isn't it? You have this basic human need, for social contact, bumping right up against a lack of maybe genuine shared ground.
Yeah.
They were there, they were physically part of the group, but that lifestyle difference, the not drinking, it created this sort of invisible barrier. It shows how sometimes we just prioritize being around people, even if we're not, truly clicking on the same frequency.
And then there's this other feeling mentioned, wondering if they were missing something.
Ah, yes. FOMO.
Totally. Because they didn't join in the drinking and they saw everyone else apparently having the time of their lives. That pressure, that feeling like you have to do what everyone else is doing to be accepted, it's intense.
Oh, absolutely. That fear of missing out, it's a huge driver, especially, when you're younger, figuring out your place. And this story, it's a perfect example of how FOMO can nudge us into stuff that doesn't really feel like us.
Which then ties into another point they made. Deep conversations were not really ever had.
Right. Surface level.
Yeah. And it's linked to this feeling that maybe people were just drinking to get away, like an escape rather than a way to connect.
Avoidance, maybe?
Could be. So you've got this picture of people together socializing, but maybe not really. Well, not really seeing each other.
Exactly. The why behind our interactions, the motivation, it really shapes the quality, doesn't it? If the main reason is to escape something, maybe boredom, maybe awkwardness, whatever, instead of genuinely wanting to connect.
Then the connection stays shallow.
Right. It's likely to just stay on the surface. Ostensible connection again.
Okay, this feels like the perfect time to bring in that Stephen Furtick quote. The reason we struggle with insecurity is because we compare our behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel.
Oh, that quote hits hard. It's so true.
Let's connect that directly to this college experience. This person's feeling of not fitting in, the mental wavelength difference that's there behind the scenes.
Their internal reality, yeah.
And then the perception of everyone else just having a blast. The drinking crowd, that's the highlight reel they're comparing themselves to.
And what's brilliant about the quote is how it nails why we might feel that need for ostensible acceptance. Our own insecurities get magnified, hugely magnified, when we measure our messy, complicated inner world against the polished, curated versions of others we see.
The perfect Instagram feed effect, but in real-life interactions.
Exactly. And that comparison makes us feel like we need to create our own highlight reel.
Yeah.
So we pretend. We act like we belong, act like we're having fun, even if it's not how we really feel.
So it seems like this whole experience, this feeling of only ostensibly fitting in, it often comes down to that social comparison trap. We see what we think others are experiencing.
Their highlight reel.
And we try to match it, sometimes losing that genuine connection, that authenticity along the way.
Precisely. Look, ostensible acceptance, pretending to fit in, it can work short term. It fills that immediate need for social contact. But it's really worth asking ourselves if it's just covering up deeper stuff.
Like insecurity.
Yeah, insecurity. Or maybe a real hunger for connections that are, more real, more authentic.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. Can you think of a time when you felt that kind of ostensible acceptance, where you were there but not really there.
What was actually going on for you behind the scenes? How did that outward show
Yeah.
compare to what you were genuinely feeling?
And maybe, just maybe, what could change if we all decided to focus a little less on comparing highlight reels and put a bit more energy into, well, finding and building those real connections?
Something to think about.